from the pandemic, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that at the end of April, there were more than 9.3 million job openings and 9.8 million unemployed Americans. As Roslyn Anderson reports, workers are not returning to their jobs, leaving many employers struggling.
During the pandemic recovery, businesses that have reopened are finding themselves in a crisis of sorts, a worker shortage.
I have noticed, and it makes it a little uncomfortable.
Julian Johnson is seeing now hiring signs popping up more and experience the inconvenience that comes along with businesses being short-staffed.
Almost everywhere you go, either they're out of people that work and they're actually having to shut down early. I've actually pulled up to places and they've had signs on the door saying, be knowledgeable or patient with them because they're so short.
Large job openings range from the trucking industry to retail and food service. Restaurant owner Jeff Good is offering signing bonuses, more flexible hours, and has even held a hiring carnival to fill vacancies. He needed to double staff when his new location of Sal and Mookie's recently opened in the district at Eastover.
I was out there bussing tables and pouring water, and so what I did is when I saw a young man or a young woman or somebody in their 20s or even somebody my age, I asked them if they wanted to come work with us.
Good is seeing a shortage of skilled workers in the industry, veteran cooks and other employees who during the shutdown chose to go to school or pursue other careers. But he is hopeful that the coming months could bring the return of people to the workforce. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Well, Jackson's VA Medical Center is the kind of workplace that includes many family members, among them twin nurses now.
3 on your side's Roslyn Anderson introduces us to the Pearl natives who wanted to be in the medical field and followed the same path in life, education, and in their careers.
Twins Cleola Taylor on the left and Ceola Gilbert on the right get double takes when walking the halls of the VA hospital. Both have worked here for nearly 13 years and another 13 years prior at St. Dominic.
And I usually don't tell people that I have a twin because that takes the fun out of it here. I wait and eventually they see us either at lunch together or in the hall together and they stop in their tracks and they say, "I didn't know you had a twin."
We've actually had the opportunity to work together on the same floor before, but we were on different halls. She was on one side, a different hall, and I was on another.
Both graduated from Hines Community College and UMMC with master's degrees from William Carey. They each have 2 daughters.
My youngest and her oldest are 8 months apart. So we were pregnant at the same time, but we didn't realize it, of course, until later on.
The 57-year-olds say they don't look alike, but share a passion for serving veterans. Ceola is a utilization manager overseeing patient charts. Her husband is deceased and was in the military.
They are the ultimate reason that we are here. I know people, we get a paycheck here, but that is, at the end of the day, you want to know that you've done something competent, something that you've helped someone.
Cleola, a charge nurse in ambulatory surgery, worked the COVID unit.
I took an oath as a nurse that I was going to take care of my patients no matter what. And I go home at the day with a clear conscience, and I wasn't going to turn back because of COVID.
Their nursing careers span 37 years. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
New tonight, a homicide investigation is underway in Canton. As Roslyn Anderson reports, police in the city are in search of the killer.
Canton police are investigating the shooting of a teenager shot and killed while visiting his grandmother Thursday night. Canton Police Chief Otha Brown says officers were called to Northwest Street around 11:30 Thursday night to respond to a drive-by shooting. 15-year-old Marion Tillman of Texas was shot multiple times while standing outside a home with a group in the 300 block of Northwest Street. The teenager was in the city visiting his grandmother when the gunfire erupted. Tillman was transported to UMMC, where he later died. According to police, a gray vehicle drove past the home and shots were fired. Friday, more gunfire erupted around 12:30 p.m. on the same street, striking at least 2 vehicles. No injuries were reported. If you have any information to help solve this crime, call Canton Police, the Madison County Sheriff's Department, or Crime Stoppers. In Canton, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side. While First Lady Jill Biden was in the capital city encouraging Mississippians to get vaccinated, people were lined up at the state health department's West Street testing site, waiting to find out if they contracted COVID-19. Some are taking the test as a work requirement. Jamal Savory is here because he said his sister tested positive for the virus. The 19-year-old is afraid to get the vaccine.
She had a real bad ear infection. She couldn't breathe. Her nose was running real bad. So she came and got tested, and they said she had COVID, and I need to come get tested, so I don't know yet.
According to the state health department, those 18 to 24 have the lowest vaccination rate among most adults. Jishnu Gosin was also tested. The 30-year-old has had his first dose of the vaccine. He plans to get the second shot.
I'm actually traveling out of town, actually out of the country, so just want to taste negative so I can prove that I don't have COVID. I think there's a lot of unknowns, and I think just to be safe and keep everyone else safe, you should just take the test and go ahead and get the vaccine.
Approximately 35% of Mississippians are fully vaccinated. That could mean there will be a lingering need for COVID-19 testing for the large number of unvaccinated residents.
It's summer 2021. Everybody's trying to party and do them, you know. Too many people around each other, of course you're going to get sick. So COVID is still out here.
In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
School starts in just days, and this weekend, parents are getting a break on the cost of back-to-school necessities. As Roslyn Anderson reports, stores are welcoming an uptick in shoppers for the tax-free weekend.
We want to go up to H&M right now to go look for those.
LaShonda Kidd and her daughter Shamaya are shopping the sales tax holiday weekend at North Park Mall to get ready for the 8th graders' return to Madison Middle School.
Graphic t-shirts, shoes, jeans, everything.
Shamaya has a list.
A lot of the stores have some extra sales that are going on at this particular time. We are big shoppers anyway, so we love to shop, so it's best to take advantage of all the sales that we can get with all the bargains.
Friday through Saturday midnight, shoppers won't pay the 7% sales tax on clothing, footwear, or school supplies if the sales price of a single item is less than $100. Accessories like jewelry, handbags, umbrellas, wallets, and similar items do not qualify for the sales tax holiday.
That little bit of money can be stretched a long way.
Tammy Walker and her 14-year-old granddaughter, Mary Lynn Biffle, are shopping for school clothes.
I think it's great for all the parents and grandparents. The money's been short this year due to the COVID, and anything's going to help, all of it's going to help everybody out.
Mall officials say the sales tax holiday weekend is top 5 in mall traffic for the year.
The sales tax weekend does push more people out to the center. We see anywhere from a 30 to 40% increase in traffic. If you really take the Friday and the Saturday and combine them together, it gets close to our traffic we see on Black Friday.
Go to our website, WLBT.com, for a list of eligible sales tax holiday items. In Ridgeland, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
New at 6, some West Jackson apartment residents tell us pleas for repairs and removal of mold are being met with evictions and a shutdown of the property for renovations. As Roslyn Anderson reports, some residents say the Vintage Apartments is putting them out on the streets with very little notice.
I'm on a fixed income, so it's very hard.
Eddie Brown has lived at the Vintage Apartments for a year and a half and says in May he received notice from management that his lease would not be renewed. The 67-year-old is disabled and says he's had a difficult time finding a new apartment, and most cost hundreds more.
It's hard to find places because the rent is pretty reasonable here, and everywhere else rents are going up. I'm trying to get into elderly senior care home, but some people just don't have the finances to move because just about everybody here is on a fixed income.
The 175-unit apartment complex was built in 1973. Tenants say they have seen a decline in the upkeep over the past few decades. Some report problems with mold and rats.
You forcing me to move and don't have nowhere else to go. I just want to know why.
This woman, we will call Jane, has lived at the Vintage Apartments since last August and is upset by her May notice to leave her apartment.
I'm moving right now as we speak. I'm done speaking with you. I'm going to go get me a U-Haul and try to put my stuff in the storage and figure out from there.
Repairs to the roof are underway. Other workers were at several units on the property. I reached out to management and was told there was no comment at this time, but tenants were given notice in April. Meanwhile, the remaining residents are scrambling to find other housing before August.
They could have given us a little bit longer notice, they still want us to pay rent and they prepare them to get moved too.
In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
And it's been more than a year since Jackson reached a settlement with Siemens to return money to the city's water billing system. Still, problems are happening. But according to the mayor, these water woes could soon be ending. Roslyn Anderson has the latest.
I haven't had the bill. That's why I paid my bill by telling my address.
Many Jackson residents are familiar with Roosevelt Thornton's situation. He's been waiting since February for a new water meter.
They need to have a better program. They need to have someone that's gonna be real and not tell me one thing and do another thing. Be precise, because I pay precise.
I came down to pay my bill, and the young lady said, well, you have a $940 credit.
This customer has not received statements in months but continues to pay. Friday, she left the billing office frustrated.
I don't know whether they took the credit, I don't know what they did, but now I don't have it. So I've been dealing with that.
Jackson Mayor Chokwe A. Lumumba says corrections to the system are underway.
We have identified and secured a contractor that is providing a new meter. We are in the process of securing a contractor for the installation. We have a project manager who will oversee the entire process. We have changed the billing software.
The previous public works director estimated that millions of dollars in water sewer payments have been lost as a result of the faulty system. Residents now want a permanent fix.
The meter hadn't been changed out, and they've been estimating the bill, and I just don't see how that's correct.
They need to really do their homework, getting these contractors. That's definitely what they need to do.
In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
And residents on Jackson's well water system are asked to conserve water starting this weekend. Work will begin Monday to replace the temporary pump at the Sywell Road well with a new pump. A precautionary boil water notice will be issued on Monday for the impacted areas.
The July 4th fireworks celebrations are often accompanied by gunfire, a dangerous practice that leaves bullets in homes and in yards. But some Jackson residents tell us the gunfire is ever present in their neighborhoods and they want it to stop. Roslyn Anderson is live now with their concerns tonight.
We're in Belhaven Heights, where residents here are tired of hearing random gunshots and something too close for comfort. For one North Jackson resident, a bullet found after gunshots.
That was the second one.
Tracy Donovan's security camera captured sounds of gunshots around 1 a.m. Tuesday when July 4th fireworks were tapering off. She had been relaxing on the patio earlier in the evening when she heard gunfire.
There were 3 shots, one at 12:45, one at 1, and one at 1:04. And when I came out here that morning, I found a bullet laying between this wall and this plant.
Donovan says it is a year-round problem in her Normandy Drive neighborhood.
My husband's been on the roof and has found bullets in the roof. You know, I'm sure there's still some up there now.
It is also a problem in Belhaven Heights.
I had an apartment right here off and on.
I heard what sounded like gunfire while talking with John Helmert.
It feels like it is making things extremely unsafe for us.
He has lived in the area 13 years and hears random gunfire once or twice a week.
I don't hear automatic gunfire. I hear gunshots from pistols, sometimes as many as 8 or 10 at a time, and it seems like frequently there are more than one weapon involved.
They say calls to police have done little to prevent the constant shots. They want gun owners to stop endangering lives.
It really is scary. We can't even, you know, we have flowers back here. We can't come out here and sit and eat. Honestly, when they're just shooting, just randomly shooting, it's stupid. They could hit one of their family members.
Residents are pleading with gun owners to use a firing range instead of firing their rounds in the city. That's the latest from here in Jackson. Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
A woman.
Well, Jackson residents have grown accustomed to water billing issues, receiving high and even random bills. Roslyn Anderson reports for newcomers to the city, not getting a bill and the red tape that goes along with it isn't so welcoming.
We owe the money, we have the service, bill us.
Sharon Gehring moved to Jackson in March, and after 2 trips to the water department and several calls, she still has not received a statement. The organ transplant wants to pay, but being a new homeowner has no idea how to estimate her usage. She was told she could delay payment.
I'm on a fixed income, I have so much money. I pay my bills once a month. And so the thought of getting a bill 5-6 months down the road is not exciting to me.
The city is working out problems impacting Gehring and thousands of others. Jackson Public Works Deputy Director Carla Dezette says Utility Metering Solutions of Raleigh, North Carolina will install Camstrup water meters. They plan to launch a pilot program next month to install about 1,500 commercial and some residential meters. The city will test them a couple of months before moving forward with a full installation. Dezette says progress is being made with remediating the entire water sewer business administration, which includes new meters, upgrading the billing software, and a reorganization of staff at WSBA. We are also developing a customer service assistance program, which will be announced close to the end of July.
Get somebody in there that can fix it.
Full installation of the new meters is estimated to take 16 months, with completion by approximately October 2022. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Concerns tonight over the future of New Summit School, where parents say closure is imminent and teachers have gone without pay. This news comes as the operators of the school, Nancy and Zach New, face indictment charges on fraud claims and identity theft. Roslyn Anderson has the latest.
I'm worried for the children of Mississippi. I mean, they don't have options.
Candy Brown says she was notified that students will not be attending New Summit School's Jackson campus in the fall. Her son Colin has language auditory disorder and is high-functioning autistic. He is a junior and began attending the school in 6th grade. New Summit offers classes for students with special academic needs, from dyslexia to autism.
These kids are going to have to go into other private schools that may or may not have classes for special education. Some of these children will have to be placed back into public schools that obviously they're there because their district wasn't able to provide them with the services that they needed.
High school career teacher Ashley Shepard says they have not been paid since May 15th. She says a July 1st email from custodian Gary Herring stated that they were free to file unemployment. It said their contract had been broken by New Learning Resources. Nancy and Zach New ran New Learning Resources, which operates the Jackson, Greenwood, and Hattiesburg schools. The News are under indictment for intentionally filing fraudulent claims to get reimbursement from the Department of Education, wire fraud, and aggravated identity theft.
What has happened with the New Summit is obviously terrible, but this school was allowing these students to flourish.
Interim Executive Director Ray Ballantyne has not responded to a request for comment. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Beautiful and new at 6, summer barbecues on the grill, as well as shopping for dinner, will cost you more as meat prices rise across the country. Last week, a cyber attack shut down this country's largest meat processor, further increasing meat prices. Roslyn Anderson talks with a local beef producer who, despite rising operational cost, has not raised his prices.
Get ready to shell out more money for the meat you put on the grill for summer cookouts. Prices are rising for your favorite cuts of meat.
Remington Lot Farms.
Remington Lot Farms, located in Madison, sells beef raised on their Canton farm. Owner Greg Lott says he began noticing a spike in prices nationally over a month ago.
Meat coming out of your major plants, I think they're at an all-time record high right now.
According to BeefMagazine.com, in April, beef prices were 18.5% higher at wholesale and 11.5% higher at retail compared to levels in 2019.
I personally think they'll be rising from now through the fall because of lack of supply, the supply chain. Now, us locally, Remington Lot Farms, it hadn't affected our supply chain because we carry our cattle to a local processor.
David Raines, owner of the Flora Butcher, reports that the price of prime beef, pork, and chicken has doubled. He expects there will soon be a shortage because of the availability issue. Experts say in recent months, consumers and restaurants have increased the demand for meat, so be prepared to pay more in the coming weeks and months at your local grocer. In Madison, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
2020 will be remembered as a year of loss by many, but in some instances, loss gave life. As Roslyn Anderson reports, the Mississippi Organ Recovery Agency saw record donations, a rebirth of sorts, and improved quality of life for nearly 800 Mississippians.
God gave me another chance at life.
Diagnosed with congestive heart failure, Angel Meeks waited 3 years on the transplant list until receiving the life-saving gift in January 2020.
December 2019, I told my mama for Christmas I didn't want nobody to give me nothing for Christmas. All I wanted was God to do was bless me with a heart. In January, he did just that.
The Canton resident's heart was one of 98 transplants in 2020, a record year of donations for Mora during the outbreak.
In the middle of all this pandemic, we hit 1 million people in the donor registry.
Mora CEO Kevin Stumps says families stepped up, giving organs, tissues, and eyes that allowed others to live and have brighter futures.
It was amazing to see the great people of the state of Mississippi saying, you know, this is a horrible time we're going through. If our loved one can give somebody a ray of hope, let's do it.
The history-making donations resulted in 284 life-saving organ transplants. Meeks' donor was a 39-year-old wife and mother from Little Rock, Arkansas, named Brandy.
I love Brandy's family. Her mom always checks on me, and we text each other, and my heart goes out to them, and the beat goes on. And like I told her and her family, I'm going to take care of Brandy's heart.
What better thing for you to do as your last act on this earth than to save somebody else's life?
In Flowood, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
3 on your side. WLBT News at 6 starts now.
More gun violence at the convenience store where Murrah High School graduate lost her life. A 15-year-old and an 18-year-old shot at the Texaco on Medgar Evers Boulevard early this morning. The escalating violence is disturbing to residents who live nearby. 3 on your side's Roslyn Anderson reports.
It's awful, and it is a disgrace.
Dorothy Mitchell lives across the street from the Medgar Evers Texaco, where Jackson police say 2 teenagers were shot early Monday. The 67-year-old resides in an elderly housing complex and says she and other residents live in fear.
This morning, approximately 3:42, I heard gunshots. I immediately hit the floor because it was so close. I didn't know where the gunfire was coming from, and so I just began to pray.
According to investigators, a 15-year-old was shot once at the store by unknown suspects. An 18-year-old was also shot twice while sitting inside a vehicle at the store. He underwent surgery for life-threatening injuries. June 1st, Kennedy Hobbs was fatally shot the night of her graduation from Murrah High School. She was sitting inside her vehicle. Residents like Mitchell want guns out of the hands of youth, less conflict, and more parental supervision.
If there was more prayer in the home, in the community, if we would come together as one people, one voice, things would be better.
No other details about the shootings were provided. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
It's the day Jackson High School seniors have worked for and dreamed about. Graduation Day. JPS commencement ceremonies are happening today and tomorrow at the Mississippi Coliseum, spreading out the events to reduce crowds. 3 on your side's Roslyn Anderson takes us to one of the day's first graduations.
You're winners because you did not give up.
The challenging year for Murrah High School seniors ends on a high note with in-person commencement ceremonies, a return to the norm students feared would not happen. Murrah is the first class in the district to hold graduation ceremonies for the class of 2021, awarding 279 diplomas.
Understand the importance of this moment, this opportunity for you to mark this time and use it as a stepping stone to your next greatest accomplishment.
My whole education and all my successes are coming to a point and where I've been thinking about my whole life.
Benjamin Davis plans to attend Xavier University in Louisiana, majoring in electrical engineering.
I think our class has a lot to offer. People like me going out of state and hopefully coming back, bringing back what we learned and adding more to Jackson. And Jackson needs a lot of help with new entrepreneurs and businesses.
I just want to say congratulations, all of the graduates of 2021. We did it, even though there are very many trials and tribulations, we still got our diplomas.
This class overcame the obstacles of virtual and hybrid learning while coping during a pandemic to set their course for the future. They agree the year was difficult, but they persevered.
It was a different experience, but I got through it. It was hard, but we did it. We did it. We did it.
This one is for the books, and we the best class, and yeah, we did that, period.
In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Bond issue funding is making renovations to schools throughout the Jackson Public School District. Those improvements were approved by voters back in 2018. Roslyn Anderson tells us what parents and students can expect to see.
Callaway High School is one of 7 JPS high schools that are having work done. Work is also happening at elementary schools in the district. Van Winkle Elementary is among the schools in the district getting a facelift with funding from the $65 million bond issue. Classrooms and learning patios are repainted with added lighting. Carpeting has been removed and replaced with tile. Renovations were also made to the library. They are changes Kimberly Williams likes to see. She voted for the bond issue in 2018 to improve conditions for her daughter Justice.
They're doing a good job. I like how the school has progress, how it's looking, how the teacher has doing more interactive with the kids. They doing more since the pandemic has calmed down a little bit.
A fresh new look will welcome students for the 2021-2022 school year.
Kids are excited. They are, COVID drained and quarantine drained. They want that physical presence of a teacher. They love the new bright colors we've been able to paint the walls with. We think that all these improvements are going to help in the fall when we become full in person.
Van Winkle received $373,000 for the improvements. Renovations are scheduled to be completed throughout the district by May 2022. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Federal authorities are now turning to retailers to help prevent bombings. Today, a joint effort between Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security, or CISA, and the FBI launching a nationwide program to monitor the purchase of common bomb-making components. 3 on your side's Roslyn Anderson has the latest on this.
What you have here in front of you are bomb-making materials that are readily available.
These common household chemicals and items may sit on your shelves, but federal authorities warn that they can be used to make bombs. That was the case in December in Nashville, where infrastructure security officials say the bomber who died stockpiled chemicals to create the explosives.
It created a lot of material damage to an important critical infrastructure communications node operated by a telephone company. It impacted E911 systems for a period of time, and is still under investigation.
CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, and the FBI kicked off Operation Flashpoint in Clinton. It is a public bomb awareness program. The initiative alerts retailers like Revel Ace Hardware to be aware of suspicious purchases of products from drain cleaner and acid to pipes and nails, items that can be used to produce bombs.
There are products here that could be used as precursors for people who have nefarious ideas of making bombs and different things like that we didn't realize, and we want to be aware about that in case there's someone that's buying an unusual amount of something that we should know so that we can notify them and possibly prevent a tragedy happening.
The 90-day pilot program is the start of a national program. Officials say last year there were more than 2,000 bomb threats like package and device-related incidents in the U.S. In Clinton, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Victims of human trafficking can be trapped by predators and sold for sex for decades. Law enforcement reports that the crime is growing in this state, but now there is even more help for victims who are rescued from this life of terror. 3 on your side's Roslyn Anderson has the latest.
This is a look inside the tower, a safe haven for human trafficking victims. The Center for Violence Prevention operates the facility that now can house up to 12 victims and their children at an undisclosed location in Pearl. Thursday, the expansion was celebrated by those who helped make it happen. Officials say the most vulnerable are children in foster care and runaways.
A lot of the ones that we're working with are 30 years old or 40 years old, and they've been in the life since they were children. So they have a long time recovery because they've been victimized for so many years.
It's horrific. This is a horrific issue.
Attorney General Lynn Fitch says Mississippi has had 200 cases over the past couple of years. 20 victims have been rescued in the last few weeks.
It's happening where family members, they're trafficking their daughters, and it's usually for drugs. Usually drugs are a huge component of this.
House Speaker Philip Gunn says the legislature passed 2 bills to give law enforcement the tools needed to fight the state's rising human trafficking problem.
I'm afraid many people don't understand just what a real threat that is to our state. And over the last many years, we've come to realize just how active human trafficking is in Mississippi.
The tower opened in 2017. This year, the program has assisted more than 150 victims. In Pearl, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Jackson police now investigating the city's 73rd homicide, another deadly month here in the capital city. As Roslyn Anderson reports, gunfire on the last night of June claimed the life of a young woman at a convenience store, the result of a dispute.
Jackson police say the victim in the city's latest homicide knew her killer. The suspect remains on the run, but police have not released the name of the man who fatally shot Kaylin Banyard. Police say the 21-year-old was shot just before midnight Wednesday in the 3100 block of Terry Road. We are told it happened at Inland Food Store at the intersection of Lockwood Circle and Terry Road. Investigators say Banyard was arguing with her boyfriend when she was shot by her boyfriend's brother. The Hinds County coroner says she was hit multiple times and later died at UMMC. According to Banyard's Facebook page, she attended Jackson State University.
Don't nobody care no more. Don't nobody got nobody respect for life. Don't nobody care about nobody other feelings or nothing.
Dwayne Page is a trucker and merchandiser who makes deliveries to the store.
I'm in South Jackson every single day. I've been to stores where they said somebody got shot and ran behind the store and died. Another guy got shot, ran inside a store and died. And this has been in the last, I want to say like 6-8 months.
It's sad out here. I hate to watch the news now, because every time you turn it on TV, there goes somebody that got killed again.
There were reportedly 17 homicides in the month of June in Jackson, making it the deadliest month in the city's history. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
And you can keep track of all of this year's homicides by going to our homicide tracker on WLBT.com. You can also look back at the statistics from the past 5 years.
Abandoned buildings continue to create more problems here in the capital city. One is now the target of illegal dumpers. Roslyn Anderson is live with the place that looks like a jungle filled with tires.
The former Hilltop Inn and Suites on the I-20 frontage road is the latest dumping site. Hundreds, possibly thousands of tires are spread out across the property.
I pass by that every day, and it's just really an eyesore.
Jennifer Palmer works at the Animal Medical Center, 2 doors down from the former Hilltop Inn and Suites. The property is littered with debris. Palmer and others have watched the trash accumulate over the past few months.
I'd like to see the hotel gone for one, to not attract so many vagrants maybe, and just, like I said, it's just such an eyesore for people to pass by to see every day that are coming through our city. So it needs to come down.
Hundreds of tires are stacked and tossed behind the abandoned hotel. Trash, from building materials to furnishings, litter the side and front. In February of 2020, the motel was destroyed by fire that officials said started from a space heater. Some nearby workers say they contacted the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality in May and were told the agency would look into it. MDEQ has not confirmed that information. Meanwhile, those near the structure fear what it will become in the future.
It looks like every day there's something new piled up there, and it seems that there's more tires out there like on a weekly basis.
I've reached out to the city for information on this latest dumping site. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
A garden grown from grief now brings joy to residents and children in Belhaven.
Yeah, Jackson Ryder transformed a parking lot into what is now a place of beauty which shares a love of earth and nature with the community. 3 on your side's Roslyn Anderson takes us there.
It is like finding an oasis in the desert.
Jesse Yancey created this oasis in 2008 after the devastating loss of his sister sent him spiraling.
Cindy had always wanted a garden, but she never lived in a place where she could have one. So I started a garden. I knew I had to get up and do something. So what I did was I picked up a shovel. I saw this corner over here.
The 63-year-old started at the corner of Peachtree Street and Poplar Boulevard, planting a variety of flowers, plants, and vegetables on a space donated by Nejum Properties. The garden has grown to cover nearly a third of a football field.
When people walk by, they can enjoy what they see over here.
Neighbors like twins Adriana and Brianna Wong were drawn to the garden.
My mom told me about it, and I just came here one day, and I was really impressed on what I saw, and I just really wanted to be here all the time.
They're here every Sunday, planting and tending their favorites, tomatoes and cucumbers.
When I see how much the garden has grown, it makes me feel proud of all the hard work we've done, because it starts from one tiny little seedling to a huge plant.
The garden is now a fixture in the neighborhood, a gift to those passing by and for the future.
It's important for kids to know where their food comes from, and I think it's important for them to know how to grow it. This is a great place for biology.
Yancey is gearing up for Bright Lights Bellhaven Nights, when 8,000 lights will be strung in the garden. He wants you to stop by and visit. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Imagine not feeling safe in your own home each evening, dreading nightfall and each strange sound you hear. As Roslyn Anderson reports, that's the plight of a Bellhaven woman who is the victim of repeated break-ins.
What's going to happen next? Are they going to go beyond the porch? Are they going to come in while I'm home?
Those are the questions Mary Barnes asks after experiencing 5 break-ins at her Jefferson Street home in 3 months. Wednesday at 1:45 and 3:15 a.m., her porch screen was cut and cameras captured a woman taking tools and other items she'd placed on the porch to give to Goodwill.
I live here and want to feel like I'm safe to go to bed at night, and just know that my door and my porch being locked is enough. And a lot of nights I go to bed and I don't feel like that's enough.
There were 2 break-ins in April. 2 separate times in May when a tree fell on the house. One man ran away with items after cutting the screen. Another used a crowbar to try to pry open the door of the truck trapped beneath the tree. He also fled when she appeared. At this point, the Bellhaven resident asks, when is enough enough?
I'm giving myself 3 months to either buy a house and move, or just move out and find somewhere else until I buy a house, because I'm tired of feeling vulnerable or waiting for what's going to happen next.
Barnes attributes some of the crime to the increased foot traffic from nearby businesses and the homeless. She wants neighbors to be aware and alert.
I know I'm not the only one, and my problems, are minor in the grand scheme of things, but they're uncomfortable and unfortunate and scary.
In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
How safe is Jackson's drinking water? A report from the city states lead and copper issues, violations of drinking water standards, and drinking water requirements. Roslyn Anderson has reaction from the mayor tonight.
I will give you the same words as the EPA director that was here in drinking the water. It is safe to drink.
Jackson Mayor Chokwe Lumumba says he wants to assure residents that the water is safe to consume. But a July 31st letter from the city stated that there are lead and copper rule treatment technique violations. It said water quality parameters are not meeting minimum values. It also lists a failure to install corrosion control, treatment which prevents lead and copper in pipes and plumbing components from dissolving into the drinking water.
As the EPA spoke to in that meeting, that there have been no lead pipes identified on the city's end, that there is a corrosion study that is being implemented.
The mayor says a recent visit by the EPA was at the city's request. Saturday, the city submitted the first steps ordered in the consent decree. Lumumba says Public Works recognized a problem he did not identify and self-reported it to the federal agency. The notice states it is not an emergency, but it recommends before using tap water for drinking that you run your cold water tap for at least 1 minute. Never use the hot water tap for drinking or cooking. Use ready-to-feed baby formula or prepare using only filtered or bottled water. Corrosion control installment was completed at the O.B. Curtis Water Treatment Plant. It is incomplete at the J.H. Fuel Water Treatment Plant. In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
Escalating crime has Jackson City Council members looking for outside help to stop the violence. Today, city leaders discuss bringing in a military presence. Roslyn Anderson is live from Jackson City Hall now to tell us what leaders and residents are saying about that option.
Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes presented a resolution asking that the National Guard step in, but some fear the message that a military presence will send. Ward 3 Councilman Kenneth Stokes says Jackson needs help with the rising number of killings in the city and asks council colleagues to support a resolution for the emergency deployment of the Mississippi National Guard to address what he calls the crime epidemic in the city.
We can't just call them out, which is, you know, we can certainly, but we need to go through the governor's office to get to the National Guard to try, if they're going to help us in this matter.
They dying in this city. They are dying in this city. And if we can get National Guard help, do it. If we had to ask the governor for help, do it.
But some on the council are apprehensive about bringing in the military.
The council should be a little more concerned with trying to give JPD what it needs to be successful versus bringing in a high authority.
Here's what some of you had to say.
I am opposed to any kind of continued incarceration of people. I just don't think that further militarization of our community is necessary. I don't think it's going to do anything good for anybody.
I think they should. It's too ridiculous. Parents are burying their kids young. We need it. The police need some help. I mean, you know, whether they want to meet it or not, we need some help.
I think that could lead to more problems than fix them. And at the same time, I think, isn't that the job of our police department? Don't we have police officers for the purpose of that?
Debate the National Guard. Now, we are told that after the resolution was talked about, it was withdrawn. After the second was withdrawn, some people have concerns that this will give the impression of a police state. That's the latest from here in Jackson. Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
We warn you that our next story does include a disturbing picture. Tonight, a Rankin County family says excessive force was used when deputies arrested a man who died in their custody. NBI is now investigating the death of Damian Cameron.
As Roslyn Anderson reports, relatives say a graphic picture of his injuries proves his treatment was uncalled for.
He was laying right there in that mud puddle.
Betty Cameron says her grandson, Damian Montrell Cameron, was dying beside a Rankin County deputy's SUV Monday evening after being tased twice and assaulted. Deputies went to Cameron's foot drive home to question him about a burglary. James and Betty Cameron say they were home when a deputy chased Damian into the house and struggled with him.
That was just unreal. I mean, it shouldn't have been that way. I don't know how he got that in his face, because I didn't see that part. I don't know what he did when he got him in the car, but they never left the yard.
The Camerons say their grandson complained of not being able to breathe when a second deputy placed his knee on the back of Damian's neck. They say he fell twice before being placed in the vehicle. Later, deputies say they found him unresponsive and began chest compressions.
I said, what happened? He wasn't responding when we put him in the car. He wasn't responding. And so we kept pumping about 20 or 30 minutes on him.
James Cameron says when he was in the yard, he heard one deputy crying.
I didn't walk right up on him, but I could hear him and see him crying. You know, just hear him crying. You know, oh, Lord, why this had to happen to me? Why me?
The Mississippi Department of Public Safety is not commenting on the ongoing investigation. Officials say all investigative findings will be turned over to the district attorney for review. In Braxton, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on your side.
I'm so happy they're back and opened up.
Edward Ellington missed picking out fresh fruits and vegetables when COVID-19 closed Brenda's Produce. He prefers the locally grown tomatoes, peaches, and butter beans.
I tried a few of the delivery services, the meal delivery services, and they were okay, but you know, like any number of other parts of life, we just dealt with less. You know, less quality, less choice.
Brenda Langham drives daily from Smith County to the produce stand, which has been in her family for 69 years. The pandemic forced the business to shut down for months for the first time in family history.
During the pandemic, we just didn't do very much farming because, I mean, we had no place to go with it. So we just didn't do a lot. But now we're trying to get back into everything.
And thank you all so much.
Colorful, healthy foods draw shoppers like Tay Broad to the stand. She returned when she found out about the June reopening.
I'm just one person, and I have 3 sacks of food. I think I'm lucky because it's beautiful. They're all beautiful, and everybody's so nice, and you get to look at everything. I think it's the highlight of my day.
For Langham, the year away from customers was tough, but her smile hides the even tougher year in the life of one Mississippi farmer.
I am so proud to be back.
In Jackson, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on Your Side.
3 on Your Side. WLBT News at 6 starts now.
A restaurant brawl in Flowood is caught on camera. An evening out turned to chaos for patrons at Buffalo Wild Wings this weekend. Roslyn Anderson with the latest.
We were just there to watch the fight on TV, and we got to see like 3 more.
Kylie Edwards and 2 friends went to Buffalo Wild Wings in Flowood Saturday night to watch the UFC fight, but the action moved from the TV screen to the dining area when an all-out brawl erupted.
My friend looked at me and he was like, "Hey, those people are about to start fighting." I didn't know what he was talking about. I thought he was talking about the TV, and then this guy punches this other guy, and he goes to get the manager, and then a few minutes later these girls start fighting, so that's when I started videoing.
It was around 11 o'clock when fists started flying. Chairs were overturned. Edwards says 3 fights broke out in the chaos.
It was like right in front of us. Like they started fighting. Like we had to get up from our table and like kind of scoot over a little bit. It's unexpected. I mean, we thought it was pretty funny.
Edwards posted the brawl on social media. The 19-year-old says Flowood police, the fire department, and an ambulance arrived at the scene. Flowood police charged Robert Guillory and James Nichols with public drunk and disobeying a police officer. Lacey Nichols, Ricky Blaylock, and Jeffrey Miller were charged with disturbance in a public place. I also reached out to the Buffalo Wild Wings ownership for comment and am awaiting a response. Edwards was not injured and says the fights won't deter her from returning to the restaurant.
It's kind of crazy in there. It was unexpected. I didn't think that was going to happen.
In Flowood, Roslyn Anderson, 3 on Your Side.